Swans this week, Brad. You're seemingly getting them at a good time with a few injuries, but imagine a pretty mean opponent to come up against nonetheless.
Yeah, they always are. We've had great battles in the past. We had obviously a tight tussle earlier in the year at the SCG, and yeah, they've lost some experience, but they've got some players who have been playing really well in the NEFL, and you know, Heaney probably comes back, so he's a quality player. So they've still got really good depth across all lines. They've got, you know, not only depth across all lines, but they've got genuine star power, you know, at each end. You know, you look at their forwards, it's pretty obvious with Franklin there, and their midfield stars, and also their defenders who are all Australian standard.
What can you take out of the round 7 win?
Not a great deal, really. I mean, a lot changes from, you know, probably over the course of 10, 12 weeks, and you know, the way we played. I mean, they still gave us what we expected in the contest. They're a very good contested side and very good stoppage side, so we're going to have to be at our best in there, and we probably learned some lessons in there and things that we can improve on. And you know, really looking for, you know, Todd Goldstein's been in great form for us, so he really, we're hoping, can give us first ascendancy in there so that we can win first possession.
There was no Buddy in that game. I imagine Robbie Tarrant probably gets him. I saw he's running away from the main group out there at the moment. Is he right to be right to take the field? Oh
yeah, he's fine. No worries at all. It's probably this stage of the season where guys tend to go on to modified programs and individual programs, but he'll join in our main training session today and be no problem.
How do you go about supporting Ben Brown? Obviously, your forward line's a little bit depleted at the moment.
Yeah, we'll look at multiple ways to do that. You know, our ball movement will. I thought we made some improvements in that area last week. I mean, still. Now, we're very focused on going to Ben Brown. When he moves, our midfielders and defenders like to kick it to him, and probably not too dissimilar with Sydney, that when Buddy Franklin moves, they tend to kick it to him as well. So we'll look at some other options. Nick Larkey's been in great form in our VFL team. Majak went forward last week. You know, so we've got multiple options, and whether it's to push a defender forward, bring in another key forward in someone like Nick Larkey, Sam Durden and Ben Mackay are available to replace our key defensive stocks if we choose to flip our defenders forward. So there are lots of options for us there.
Would you be reluctant to put Majak down forward, given how well he's been going down back?
Yeah, it's an interesting debate. I mean, I think it's just horses for courses. I mean, we certainly have looked to give him some pretty good continuity as a defender, but again, I thought his move forward last week was pretty good, and he not only kicked a couple of goals, but he gave us another avenue in which, you know, takes a bit of the pressure off Brownie.
A lot spoken about Shaun Higgins being targeted, and I think he said last night that he doesn't really know why. Would it be something that you would discuss with the umpires?
No. I think the media have done a pretty good job of doing that for us. And look, I think, what is it, over $10,000 worth of fines issued to players for hits off the ball against Higgins. So, but Higo said himself he's not only copying it, he gives it out a bit himself as well. So, you know, we just got to focus on you know, Higo being a ball player. Clearly he's getting attention from the opposition because he's having an All-Australian year. So, you know, he expects that. But the thing that's really pleased me is that when the opposition have targeted him, he's gone to another level. So keep targeting him.
Horrible luck for Cam Zurhaar with the injury, just as he was establishing himself as a support ruckman.
Yeah, it's amazing in the modern game, isn't it? And look, he not only competed when he was in the ruck, he won his fair share. So yeah, we were very pleased in game how that was going, and yeah, so it's really disappointing for him to go down, because he would have played that role again this week for us. You know, now we're going to have to look at other options, and fortunately we've got other options there. But Cam's probably an 8 to 10 week injury, so we'd have to play, I think, pretty deep into September for him to come back. But what he's done is shown us that he's going to be a good player for us into the future.
Luke Davies-Uniacke, I think he had one of his better games in the VFL on the weekend. How have you assessed his year, Brad? Obviously he hasn't played a senior game since round 6.
Yeah, look, he started really well. I think his game round 2 against St Kilda on Good Friday was really positive, and he showed glimpses of the player he's going to be. But we've been fortunate this year in that, you know, we've got our own VFL team, so we're able to train players exactly how we want them to play, you know, under North Melbourne game style and conditions. So we've had the luxury of being able to work with him on a few things at VFL level, so that you know, we don't have to sort of work with him on the fly at AFL level. But you know, he's you know, very close this week. I mean, we'll finalise our team later in the week, 'cause it's a Sunday game, but you know, he probably had one of his best games last week. if he doesn't play this week, he's only just going to miss out.
Any guys pushing for a debut this round?
Yeah, there'll be a few because of the Zerha replacement forward. So, sometimes we think of Larky as making his debut, even though he's already played. But he's the one probably who's right in the mix. And then there's the Mackay and Durden who have played a fair bit of footy, or a little bit of footy for us at AFL level. But while they're not quite debutants, they're young players that we think are capable of coming in and having an impact.
Will Walker getting close?
Yeah. So Will's been good. I mean, our first two selections in last year's draft in Davies Uniacke and Walker have been really pleasing for us. But then I know that's hard for a lot of people to see who don't watch a lot of VFL footy. But no, they've been pleasing players for us and knocking on the door. A couple of defenders too, close to selection.